Hey, I'm NichBoy and welcome to Pocket for Thursday, the 12th of May, a mere 0 days away from my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Jen. Today on the show, stupid conspiracies, unlucky AI, and climbing with Serrels. Alright, here's what's been making headlines, and first up, game publisher Paradox has shut down internet stirrings of conspiracy over IGN's review of their latest game, Stellaris. Freelancer Rowan Kaiser's review of Stellaris was reasonably scathing. He called the 4X strategy game a largely uneventful slog and scored it 6.3 out of 10. This triggered a slew of backlash from social media, Reddit, and YouTube content creators who accused Kaiser of lowering his score of Stellaris due to a personal vendetta against another critic, one John Total Biscuit Bain, who in the past has had a working relationship with Paradox. The wild leap conspiracy theorists made was to connect Kaiser's distaste for Paradox's game with the publisher's good relationship with a critic Kaiser does not respect. It's one of the more stupid theories out there, but it reached a point where Paradox felt they needed to respond to it. The publisher released a statement saying of the incident that the suggested vendetta is categorically not the case. Those named in said conspiracy, including Rowan, are professionals in their field, and we are absolutely confident that such feelings would never color review content. And next up, Microsoft reportedly rejected offers of a buyout for Lionhead Studios. According to a new report from Kotaku UK, there were several potential buyers in the wings hoping to snap up the Fable studio from Microsoft. Some of the biggest names in video game publishing filed letters of intent to take over for what Kotaku sources suggest were hundreds of millions of dollars for the studio and the Fable IP. For whatever reason, Microsoft declined to take up any of these offers, but it does suggest they still have plans for Fable, even without Lionhead Studios on the case. Research firm Newzoo predict by the end of 2016, 1 billion people will be aware of esports. If this milestone is reached, that would mean a 36% growth from the end of 2015. Awareness just means they've heard esports is a thing, but it's still a pretty key component to growth in the industry. The report also predicts that the audience will rise to 292 million unique viewers. Newzoo attribute this growth to mainstream media broadcasts, which have become much more prevalent over the last 18 months. 2K have revealed Civ 6. Ta-da! That's about the excitement that you get at the end of a Civ game as well. The much-loved strategy series is expanding on Civ 5's hex-based strategy to allow players to allocate individual districts to their own tiles to take advantage of map-based buffs. Unit stacking is back, in a way, with support units and special equipment sharing tiles with other units, and there's going to be shorter game options in both multiplayer and single-player for people who can't commit to 33-hour epics. Also, AI leaders will now have agendas and will go for victories which are much more in line with their historical personalities. So no more Gundy nuke rushes. And finally, Capcom have announced that the next Phoenix Wright game is coming out this year. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice will be an eShop only release on the 3DS and will be hitting the device this September. Coming up in a moment, I talk to Mark Serrels about climbing in video games, but right now, it's time for Thing of the Day, and today's Thing of the Day, classic graphic, invaded its way to the top 10 at number 7 and was made by Kelly Claridge. When Shiloh Gustafsson plays Far Cry 4, not a single AI is safe. Where Shiloh goes, disaster follows. I'm joined now by Mark Serrels, editor at Kotaku Australia.
Hello.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for the water.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I don't even know where that came from. We may have just found that.
Maybe I shouldn't be drinking
Yeah,
this.
did you feel the seal break as you opened it?
It does taste a bit funny.
Yeah, that's probably just toilet water. Your online persona
Yes.
is based around 3 things, and I know this because I follow you on Twitter.
Yep.
Your job as editor at Kotaku,
Yeah.
oats,
Oats.
and the consumption
Oats.
thereof, and climbing.
Yes.
Is this accurate?
Yeah, I love rock climbing. Been climbing for 5 or 6 years. Yeah. So all I do is like climb stuff, look after my kids, play video games. That's it.
So this might seem strange that we're talking about climbing in a show about video games, but you tend to merge these things quite a bit, and you love writing about climbing in video games. And Uncharted has come out, which is a game where 80% of that is actually climbing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like every time a new game about climbing comes out, I'm just like, oh, yes. And then I just watch it and I get really into like how they've tried to animate it and the things they've gotten wrong, the things they get right. They usually get it wrong, but yeah.
I imagine so. I've got a friend who is also a climber, and it is the only thing he does. Are you the same? Is it this total consumption of your life?
Yeah, it's like, it's the worst, because like when you get addicted to something like climbing, me personally, every aspect of my life now focuses around it, like what I eat.
Yep.
Porridge.
Is that a climber's meal?
It's good because like it makes you feel full. Because the idea of climbing is you want to be skinny as shit.
Yeah.
So like you want to be so skinny and ripped.
Yeah.
And, just have no leg muscles, but these stupid back muscles. So like everything I eat is like. I don't
just to build up back.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I'm pretty ripped, but I don't look good naked.
Yeah, right.
Because the muscles I have are super weird and they're in the wrong place. Like, I have these tiny little arms, but this massive back. This back that, to be honest, looks a bit like a vagina.
Right. Okay.
So it's a bit gross. Yeah, so everything I do is surrounded
to
like,
build up the back vagina.
Yeah, to build up my back vagina. So like, I do the weirdest stuff like. I don't eat chocolate. I don't eat dairy.
You don't eat dairy at all.
The list of
wait. So
things
what's
I don't eat.
wait. So what's going with the porridge?
Porridge is nothing. Blueberries. And the only reason
Right, okay.
it gets the rabbit hole gets deeper.
Yep.
The only reason I add blueberries to my porridge is because it helps you burn like body fat. So,
Interesting. I add pomegranate seeds to mine,
Yeah,
but it's probably not helping.
useless.
Is it useless?
Nah, just what are you doing? Now?
My back just looks
Get it
like a regular
together.
dick, so that's probably what I'm doing wrong. Now let's talk about climbing in video games.
Yeah.
How do you feel like it has evolved up to the point of Uncharted?
Well, Uncharted is kind of like a cool endpoint at the moment. It's probably the game for me with best like accurate rendition of climbing. But there's
Really?
I think there's two games that spring to mind. Well, there's three. First is Assassin's Creed, does it really well. Uncharted does it really well. I think the game that did it best randomly was a
Grow
game
Home?
called Grow Home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a game where you play as a goddamn robot.
Yep.
So it doesn't make any sense.
He doesn't need to eat porridge. He can
doesn't-
eat whatever he wants
Yes.
because like he's
See
just
that
artificially.
guy?
That's
Yeah,
what you
I
need.
hate that guy,
Yeah.
Rob One or whatever his name is. Yeah, because that game allowed you to like actually take independent control of each arm. So you would use a shoulder button and go and reach, and then you could do all this weird stuff, and it would make sense. And
Is that what you're doing when you're climbing though? This feels like this is not a secure way to hold onto like a cliff.
you know, the funny thing is, if you see climbers
back.
like standing at the bottom of a climb, you'll often see them doing this, like, and they're just doing this weird dance, and you're like, we're not at a rave, dude. What are you doing?
So what is it about Uncharted that they've nailed?
I think it's less the controls as it is the animation, and I think I wrote a big article about this, and I said that for climbing in a game to work, I think it's more important that the animation communicates the complexity of the climbing movement as opposed to the controls, because like there's literally no way a controller can like communicate to the player what it feels like to sort of make these subtle body movements you need to make like super complex movements. But if it's animated in the right way, when you're pushing up or jumping or just doing the most basic movement in a controller, it just feels so good to be doing it accurately.
And so
Does that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense. Are you talking about stuff where you see like if Drake's hanging on something and he's reaching over here, then what doesn't happen is just he goes like that. He actually like shifts his weight so he can get a swing and stuff.
The cool thing about Uncharted is the animation's off the chain. So like you'll see Drake. So he's matching the hold here, and his feet are flat, right? So when he stretches out to try and reach this other one, he'll flag his leg out like that, because that's what you're supposed to do. If you don't do that, you're going to just lose all your balance.
Yeah.
It's just, he sort of climbs more efficiently. But the cool thing is, like,
I've never seen someone this excited
it's
about
super
anything.
exciting, right? Like, because Drake's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Because he's not supposed to be a world-class climber.
Yeah, because he's just a dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but a really athletic dude. So they've really nailed the sort of balance of him being able to do that and what he needs to do to be able to do that, but also
still be a bit clumsy in a way.
Right, that's what I was going to ask. So
Yeah.
they've built in amateurness to his climbing?
100%.
Really?
Like, so, like, the thing that I think about most is the way that he'll reach out and skip his feet across.
Mhm.
So if you're a super good climber, like me,
Yeah.
you would do this and your feet would very delicately and softly move across. So you're like, constantly doing like, tuk, 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 and you're just really precise with where you put your feet.
He's just doing this sort of thing.
I'm doing this, it's on the table. But Drake sort of, he reaches out,
Yep.
and then as he shifts his weight, it's like clear that he doesn't quite have the core strength to just really precisely move across. So he'll go dunk, 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 dunk.
Yeah, right.
But he still knows enough to shift his weight in the right direction.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just the details of that.
It's like when Casino Royale came out.
Yeah.
And James Bond had always been this suave, cool, whatever guy. And then there was that moment where Daniel Craig at the beginning in that sort of parkour run
Parkour
just
one.
smashes
Runs
through the wall.
Yes.
And you go, you're getting the job done, but you're just a hammer.
Yeah.
So it's like
correct.
that.
Drake's is exactly like that, and that's what's so cool about it.
And so I love the climbing in Uncharted, but I love it because of the cinematicness that I go, it's fun to do. But I would have thought that the climbing would be actually really simple because, or actually probably not that accurate because of its simplicity of the player to actually do. Because you're really only pushing left, right, and jumping off. Do you think that it needs to be pared back like that in a game in order to show how complex it can be?
Yeah, I think you've hit a nail on the head. Like, there's a game like Uncharted, climbing is just a section of it.
Yeah.
And also, it's a very mainstream blockbuster game. It's not climbing the video game.
Yeah.
You know, if it's climbing the video game, Uncharted would be very disappointing. But
Yeah.
really, it's just a means from getting point A to point B. So they've really nailed that balance of just making it simple, but making players feel like they have real control over it. We mentioned Grow Home, and Grow Home allows you to take independent control of each arm.
Yeah.
Uncharted doesn't let you quite do that, but there are points where like you'll reach up and you can't quite reach it.
Yeah.
And you'll see that.
And he does that stretch sort of thing?
Yeah, you can actually control it. So you don't get to choose which arm it is. It
Yeah.
depends on the sequence. But when you're reaching out like that, if you adjust the controller, you can go like that and try and find the hold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just love the way you can be like, I'm looking for it, I've found it, now I'm latched on, clunk, clunk, clunk.
Yeah.
Which is just super, I'm saying clunk, 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 clunk means
That's a
shift my feet,
climbing
get the next
Yeah.
one. So, I don't know, I just find that to be quite a good balance between, it's super simple, and it's easily communicated, you can't not understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you are allowed that organic control over where you're moving.
It's actually like a huge amount of work has gone into making it this simple.
Correct.
Because you've gone, we could have just given you control over the arms,
Yeah,
and
or
that
you-
would have been really difficult.
Or
to
it could
do
have just been push the X button.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was in previous Uncharted
Yeah, totally.
games, yeah. So, like, now I just feel like they've put a real amount of effort into, like, just getting that balance perfectly right.
And so was this something that you noticed climbing in video games in general? Is this something that you noticed before you started climbing and it got you interested in climbing, or was it the other way
Kinda,
around?
like, it's so weird, but before the first Assassin's Creed came out, I used to dream about Assassin's Creed. And I didn't climb back then.
Right.
And I just
Just
remember...
like scaling
Yeah,
old
I
buildings.
could just imagine climbing like the big cathedrals and stuff. So I was already so primed to love Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I loved that first game, and that was the game that actually got me interested in trying rock climbing.
Wow.
So I kind of got into rock climbing through video games, and now all I do is read about climbing about video games. So it's kind of like this full circle. But Assassin's Creed, I think, to me still, at that time in particular, was such a revolutionary thing in terms of
The
climbing.
first one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of how you could climb up anything, and the animations found the right movement to
Yeah.
make you move from here to here to here. It's just so like it was just next level at the time. I'd love a revolutionary game to do that again.
So, okay, well, on that, you've said that Grow Home is probably the
Yeah.
best climbing so far. Like, pitch me your perfect climbing game.
Oh,
Because I can't think of a game that is just about actual climbing that isn't
Yeah.
in a sort of cartoony, like Grow Home kind of way. You know, if you play a rock climber, where we've got pretty much every other sport and activity under the sun covered.
I've thought a lot about it. It's a difficult one. Grow Home comes so close. I think the problem with Grow Home, in terms of its complexity, is you only get to control the hands, and
if you ask any climber, the footwork is what sort of really takes you from like being a good climber to a great climber.
Yeah.
So something that sort of communicates that, but it's so difficult. I think I mentioned to you before how tough it is for a controller to communicate that.
Yeah.
Just the dexterity and the very subtle movements. I don't know how to do it.
What about VR? What if you had some sort of touch-sensitive pad that you stood on?
Yeah.
And you're using that, and that's picking up like how hard you're pressing, and then you're using your hands as well.
Well, there's a balance there, right? Because video games are about escapism, and video games are about making you feel awesome about the thing you're doing. It's all about reward and empowerment, I guess, in general.
You're not gonna get that in an accurate
if you don't
climbing
suck,
game.
If you suck at climbing in real life, you're gonna suck at climbing in a video game like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about finding ways to just be Uncharted on steroids. I think is what, or Grow Home on steroids. I think Grow Home's about as close as it gets, really. I mean, that's the benchmark for me.
That's so interesting. I love the fact that you're seeing stuff in these games. I mean, I know Grow Home is about climbing, but Grow Home was also, it wasn't about the technical aspect of climbing for me. It was just about this sense of rhythm that I could get. And in the same way, like Uncharted for me is all about story, and there's the climbing is this fun part of it.
Yeah.
Are you frustrated when people when you're seeing something in Uncharted and you're going like, you have no idea how accurate this is, and people are going, why the hell are you talking about climbing?
Well, that happens a lot. That happens on Kotaku quite frequently, actually. People are like, why the hell are you still writing about this? It doesn't frustrate me that people don't appreciate the finer elements of climbing. That would be super pretentious of me to do.
But I think you're allowed to be super pretentious.
Yeah, well, I kind of am anyway, so...
Yeah.
But I think it's good for people who don't care.
Yep.
Because you can just fly up the wall on Uncharted.
Yep.
But to just got that balance for people like me can almost perform. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, I could just go... brr, 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 but I'm gonna try and pretend that I'm climbing. So
Right.
I do that quite a lot in most video games. Like, I think the best video games really allow you to perform, and that's why they do well in like live streams and stuff like that, because people can do incredible things. So for me, when I'm climbing on Uncharted, I always try climb as statically and as deliberately as possible.
How interesting.
And so that the fact that the game allows me to do that is awesome, but it's also awesome for the people who don't give a shit, you know. And it doesn't bother me at all that people don't give a shit, because I'm allowed to perform.
I love that. I love that so much. Now I want you to be able to continue to perform. So as a thank you for coming in here, because it was a big trip, right? I got you something.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I know. And prepare yourself, because it's a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But we're on the ABC, and so editorial policy also kicks in, so I can't talk about brands.
Oh,
so I needed to remove these things from the packaging. But I got you oats.
Oh my god!
We can only afford to give you one, and you have to pick.
Oh.
There's Steel Cut, and there's Quick Oats, and there's Natural, and I don't know if they're in the order that
You've
I just
actually
said.
got it wrong. I
Right.
can tell by looking
There
at
you
them.
go.
These are rolled oats.
Right, okay.
These are the Quick Oats, and these are the Steel Cut Oats,
Yeah,
and I
terrific.
will take the
Steel Cut.
Oats.
Is that just because
I don't
the name, the branding is like you want to be Steel Cut?
Well, I already am Steel Cut.
Well, just on the back, apparently.
Yeah, just in the back.
Yeah.
But Steel Cut Oats are the best. And
Okay,
they have
cool.
the lowest GI, which means that
Interesting.
I'll eat less food if I eat this one.
So today you've got to talk about your love of climbing, and you've got both oats and water in packages that have been opened and then put into new containers.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I feel like ABC trip well done. Mark, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, man.
Brilliant.
Been a blast.
It's good to meet another porridge enthusiast. Now that's it for today's episode of Pocket. My Pocketeers, let me know in the comments what you put on your porridge. Apparently pomegranate seeds is the wrong answer, but not according to my tum. While you're on the internet, check out Good Game on Facebook, YouTube, and iView. Want to meet fellow Pocketeers? Then join the Pocketeers Facebook group and Steam group and share your porridge recipes. You can follow Good Game on Twitter at Good Game TV, follow Pocket at NichBoy, at Pierre, at GG, at Monkey, and at Samgi. There are links to everything I just said in the description below. Today's Thing of the Day graphic was made by Kelly Claridge. Thank you very much, Kelly. There are 6 better than you, but you're the 7th best. And also, I should point out that a couple of days ago, the lovely Timmy Baker sent in a 3D printed pocket boat. Have you made a boat? Please send it in. Till tomorrow, NichBoy out. Mwah.